May I take this solemn opportunity to very cordially invite His Grace Dr. Youhanon Mar Demetrios for the presidential address.
Your Holiness Basilios Marthoma Matthews III, Catholicos of the East and Malangra Metropolitan, Reverend Father Shaji Matthews, Chairman of the St. Thomas Society and School, Reverend Father Saji Abraham, Diocesan Secretary, Professor Dr. John Varghese, Principal of St. Stephen's College, Delhi, keynote address deliverer, distinguished office bearers of the parish seated on the dais, Reverend Fathers, Reverend Sisters, distinguished members of the audience, learned principals, respected teachers, Reverend Sisters, members of the choir. I just had to include them because of these wonderful songs they presented, and all the members of this audience and the children. Even as I share in the call to rejoice this day because of this event, I bow my heads in grateful thanks to God Almighty for the 40 illustrious years this lighthouse of learning has accomplished in the course of its existence. Such a checkered history could not be possible without the sacrifices, the contributions of those of the past and the present, which have enabled this institution to become a benchmark in the field of education. And therefore, to all of them, past and present, I extend my felicitations in the hope that God will continue to shower His rich and abundant blessings on this institution, on those who envision its future, and others who guide its functioning in the years to come. May I share a page from my recollection? It was the year 2011. I had just come to the Diocese of Delhi, and I was participating in the first Dr.Paulos MarGregorios inter-school elocution debate. And after the event, I remember standing in the makeshift Shamiana and talking to the manager and saying, what we need is an auditorium where we can hold these meetings without being affected by the vagaries of the climate. And I am thankful to God that that dream and hope has been realized in the building of this beautiful auditorium dedicated to the memory of Dr. Paulos MarGregorios of blessed memory. I cannot think of another person who most deserves to be remembered on this occasion. A church father whose theology still continues to be examined and to be understood by others. A great lover of children and involved in their education. A person who always saw the good and the positive, not only understanding God, but also interacting with all members of all faiths to understand who God is and who God can be in the course of individual existence and human effort. I bow my heads in reverence and homage to this church father who guided my own steps in the service and ministry of this church. There is a misconception that Christianity was brought to India by the missionaries. And unfortunately, that idea is being passed on without examination. But in reality, Christianity comes here about the same time as the first centers of Christianity took its roots in the Roman Empire. If we can examine the traditions and the available evidence, St. Thomas, one of the apostles of Jesus Christ, came first to North India, Parthian kingdom, which is today Afghanistan, Pakistan, and that area. And from there, in AD 50, that was around AD 43, perhaps the year in which the first centers of Christianity was established in Antioch and in Rome. At the same time, Christianity was established in India. And then in AD 52, St. Thomas comes down to south and establishes Christianity there. And therefore, it's just as much a faith that has been rooted and grown and developed in this hospitable environment of India, much like other faiths that have grown here and developed in the course of time. One of the strong points of the Malankara Orthodox Church, which was established by St. Thomas, is that it has always been in the forefront of education, uplifting downtrodden, backward, marginated people so that they all could experience how education becomes a channel for development. And if you look at the history of the church, there have been so many instances where women were allowed to come to break the ceiling, to come to fields which had so far been excluded to them, of bringing into the church and giving them education in an English medium because it was seen as the hope for the future. All this is recorded history of the Malankara Orthodox Church. In keeping with that tradition, those who were members of the church who migrated to the north were keenly interested in setting up educational institutions to share the light of learning with brothers and sisters, because God has been kind and gracious to allow the state of Kerala to be so literate, with a high percentage of literacy. That is what we share with our brothers and sisters. And so therefore we raise our thanks to God for this institution and for the 40 years in which dedicated teachers and principals and chairmen have guided this institution to foster learning and to develop and to graduate students who continue to be a tribute to their families, to this institution, and good citizens of this country. We dedicate this institution and everything to God and to this country. We do not lie back on our laurels. We do not rest from our endeavors. We need to carry the light of learning to other places so that we continue the tradition of sharing the light of learning with others. And I hope in the years to come, God will continue to so bless this institution that it will establish branches in other places in Delhi, so that the St. Thomas Society has a cluster of educational institutions which will be an abiding and enduring tribute to the Malankara Orthodox Church. May God continue to bless all of us and our endeavors. May God continue to bless this institution as we dedicate it to the service of God, of the country, and humankind. And may God bless all those attached to the school, families, principals, chairman, the members of the managing committee, and everybody else, so that this indeed becomes an oasis of learning and a place where people can come together to share the gift of literacy. God bless us all, and thank you for this opportunity to address you all.
May I very humbly request His Grace to declare the Ruby Year.
In view of the glorious 40 years of this school, the management of the school has decided to declare various initiatives. Accordingly, I have been entrusted to declare one such initiative being scholarship to 40 students of this school. The criteria will be informed by the management later.